Yo, so guys, welcome back to another video. This is another sport type reaction, and this is by 5 Point Vids, who for some reason in my John Boy reaction on my second channel, I forgot about his channel because I've reacted to him in the past, but I was like, oh, I've mentioned him as like a sponsor, which is my bad. But this one is the ugliest jerseys in all the sports. And this is going to be a controversial one, I know this for sure. I know it's going to be very controversial, but it's something that I've never really done on the channel before, and I think it could be quite fun. I do find sort of jersey type videos and just jerseys in general like really sort of fun to look at. And yeah, again, this may be controversial in certain points here or there, but I'm just interested to see. And again, I did enjoy him in, like, from when I've seen the channel before, I did really enjoy it. And yeah, let's just check him out.
The old adage goes.
For some reason it keeps starting when I click it. If you want any more videos from this guy, link in the comments if you would and what videos you'd like to see. But yeah, without like chatting too much more, let's just check this out.
Look good, feel good, play good. If we're using these next 10 teams as a test, the only winning they're doing is in spite of the first part. Uniforms are more than just cosmetic. They reflect a team's philosophy, their personality, and their attitude. Can you imagine the Raiders without the silver and black, the perfect two colors to embody their renegade style? What about the pinstripes of the New York Yankees or the Cleveland Browns, aptly named after the bodily function that best reflects their on-field product? Ugly color schemes, unnecessary accents, god-awful word art gradient. It's all here on the top 10 current worst uniforms in all the sports, and that's coming up right after this. Do you know why they call them earbuds?
Get your money, bro. Get your money.
Time to avoid swift justice, as did the Jags with their two-tone helmets and the Diamondbacks with their gray and teal monstrosities. Don't worry, those uniforms can't hurt you anymore. Seahawks neon green color rush. While they're still better than the...
What the fuck? I've never seen a kit or like some jerseys that color.
Highlighters they wore on occasion in the mid-2000s, the
What the
Seahawks'
hell?
current neon green color rush jerseys will generally make you want to rush to the kitchen, grab a knife, and guide your eyes out. When the Seahawks' current uniforms were unveiled in 2012, they were a benchmark in new Nike football design. 8 years later, they feel fairly standard, but the neon greens will never get adjusted to. These kits are bright, offensive, and
I don't know if it's ugly or if it's just the sort of the colors are a bit like random. I've never seen a color before, and it's one of those things, like you said, you have to get used to it. I'm
the
weird
boundaries of what the human cornea is capable of. There's nothing wrong with the little neon green, usually in a sign or, I don't know, nuclear waste. Maybe it could work as an accent on a uniform to brighten things up, but a little goes a long way, and Seattle went a long way in making sure you all have to turn the brightness down on your TV whenever they're on the field. Edmonton Oilers alternate jersey. The Oilers have one of the coolest color schemes in all of hockey, so when they chose to apply it to their alternate jersey, well, it looks crude. Haha, get it? Metaphor. I guess it doesn't work that the Oilers' semi-garish color scheme is being muted with this deep blue, and then the orange on top makes it look like a two-tone night.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't think that's that bad.
Here, kind of like the Oilers in their first round picks.
Maybe I'm just being
In
stupid.
general, though, the league has done well with their current
worse,
kits, though
one.
let's not bring up some buttes from the past like the Canadian stripes.
What the fuck?
Minnesota United Target kits. We could go into how lame it is that soccer uniforms have essentially become billboards, and it
that's one thing.
certainly is lame, but it's become so commonplace now that it's no longer an eyesore to most. Until you get to something like this. The Minnesota United's jersey has a bullseye right on its chest. Not metaphorically either. They have a corporate sponsorship with Target, and sure enough, the bullseye came with it. Legally speaking, if you kick, shoot, or punch anyone with a bullseye on their chest, they're asking for it. The only way a bullseye would really make sense would be if Minnesota were a team to beat, but they've only made it to the playoffs once in their 3-year existence. Also, I find it super ironic that a store named Target got looted. Yankees Players Weekend black. What can you do then? They must contain pinstripes. The pinstripes are earned like when you earn your phone back after a night at Derek Jeter's house. When the MLB tried out their players' weekend jerseys in 2019, the Yankees sported an all-black stain that looked dull and vaguely sacrilegious, especially next to the LA Dodgers all-white.
It's a bit bland, like you said, but
these were supposed to be for the players, and the nameplates featured nicknames rather than actual last names. Of course, the Yankees' traditional uniforms don't have names on them at all. The Bombers' uniforms don't need any alternates, of that I can assure you. Or at least toss some pinstripes on whatever terrible uniforms you throw out there next time. One of the only positive of 2020's lack of baseball, you don't have to see these uniforms anymore. Oklahoma City Thunder away blue. When the Sonics moved to OKC and became the Thunder, it was very clear they couldn't decide on their team colors, so they just used every color when it was time to design their logo and uniforms. Orange, another shade of orange, blue, another blue, black, and white make up the Thunder's away uniform, the same ones they've worn since 2008. And these are uniforms that did not deserve to see their 12th birthday. Colors aside, the worst part about this bukkake is that they decided to spell out all of Oklahoma City on the chest, and they had to stack the two words to make the whole thing fit. Maybe if it doesn't fit normally, it shouldn't just be on the jersey in the first place. It simply says OKC on the waistband. They couldn't have put that on the jersey as well.
That's a good point.
Seattle didn't lose their team for this tragedy, that's for sure. I can think of other reasons. As of the 2020 season, they did put simply Thunder across the chest, but since that season hasn't officially concluded, the old jersey still counts. Atlanta Falcons gradient uniforms. Another team that didn't need to change uniforms. The Falcons took a 25-point aesthetic lead and blew it in the offseason. The most offensive of the new set, the black and red gradients.
Don't like
it starts black, but get this, it gradually becomes red.
It's not even necessarily the color change. I mean, that's all right, because that does happen in certain sort of like jerseys nowadays. It's the font and everything. I don't know about that.
A revolutionary technique you probably learned on Microsoft Word in 2007. I'm not sure which off-license football movie they stole this idea from, but it was probably directed by Michael Bay. The ATL isn't a bad idea, though airport codes are more of a basketball thing generally. The real crime is that since the black goes above the waist and the black isn't a color that can gradually transition to red without an abrupt line, they're just gonna look like dark, high-waisted mom jeans. Minnesota Lynx blue uniforms. I'm sorry, ladies, but you couldn't escape the wrath of this list. The Minnesota Lynx away blues aren't on here because they're ugly, but rather the advertisement on the front of the jersey. Jersey ads are unique to the WNBA. They're common in soccer and most notably NASCAR, but the Lynx ad for Mayo Clinic, that brings a whole set of connotations.
Let's
break it down. There's nothing wrong with the Mayo Clinic, which is a non-profit academic medical center with a location in Rochester, Minnesota. But in the context of basketball, a Mayo Clinic sounds like the roster from Hoosiers. It sounds like Tom Brady's ideal receiving corps. It sounds like anything but a successful basketball team. The Mayo Clinic should be the name of a basketball camp where John Stockton teaches passing, setting screens, hustling, and being a supportive teammate on the end of the bench. Michigan State football alternative green. The Thunder took up two lines spelling out Oklahoma City on the front of their jerseys, and Michigan State football used size 200 font to spell out 5 letters on their abominable alternate uniforms.
What is that?
These cute accented green alts were debuted in 2019, and upon being unveiled, they certainly induced vomit. The worst part, the massive state across the chest. I guess if Miami wants to be the U, Michigan State also wanted to stake their claim on becoming the country's foremost state university. At least Miami doesn't have taxpayers footing the bill for their uniforms. Just illegal boosters.
Everything about
LA Rams away uniforms. We haven't even seen these unis in action yet, and it's already apparent that they're total eyesores. The Rams blew the aesthetic version of a 3-1 lead when they bizarre.
How hard is it to just make a nice jersey? Especially for the first sort of, like again, these are a new team that are coming. Surely you'd want to make the nicest possible jersey to sell as many. What is that? What is that?
Decided to dump their gorgeous white, blue, and gold throwbacks from decades prior in favor of a strange bone-colored away uniform. Literally, the design is called bone on bone, otherwise known as docking. The color is strange, especially when white has yet to let anyone down as an away color, but
Yeah,
the
simple color to make it
absolute
good.
worst part about these uniforms
That's
are
all
the
wrong.
name tag. On the right shoulder of the jersey, there's a plain white tag with blue lettering that just says Los Angeles Rams. Thanks for clearing that up for us. Of course, it looks just like a placeholder for a corporate sponsor, which, knowing the Rams' financial situation, should be coming shortly. And guess what? This terrible logo wasn't even their bad idea. It was plagiarized from Angelo State. Who knows where that is,
logo,
but
poor.
I hope they've got lawyers. Mavericks city uniform.
No.
Apparently, Mark Cuban forgot the Mavs had to come up with a city uniform
It looks like a Halloween, like the font just looks like Halloween.
for 2019. So at the last minute, he pulled a kid graffitiing the side of his office and told him to go to town on a blank jersey. The Mavericks' regular uniforms have never been particularly inspiring, but at least they didn't look like
Just
Urban
simple.
U's from
They are
1994
strange,
broke into the locker room.
What is a ute?
Like another uniform on this list, these bad boys feature an unnecessary gradient flowing from blue to light blue. These jerseys were designed by Tex Moten, who said, "It's typically deep elm for Dallas, especially several years ago. There's been a lot of different communities since then that have kind of embraced it,
So it's
from
to do with, like, the
fabrication
city, okay.
yards to other places. But back at that point, we started with the deep elm vibes." I have very little idea what most of those
That
words
is
mean,
really
but I do
fucking-
know that they look very bad on a basketball uniform, and that Luka Doncic and Kristaps Porzingis deserve better. And if I were Mark Cuban, I'd lower this jersey into an actual Shark Tank. And finally, the worst jersey in all
What is
of
it gonna be?
sports. Maryland football alternative uniforms. Okay, we're gonna cheat a little bit here because Maryland hasn't worn these in a few years, but these get-ups are too
What?
off-putting to keep off the
What
list.
is this?
Maryland state flag-inspired alternate uniforms are
What the
almost so bad they're good. The key word being almost. I'm lying. They're terrible.
That
The
is
Terrapins essentially cut their
Oh.
bizarre but sort of cool state flag into two patterns and put half of each
so it's
side.
to do with the state, and it's to do with like the history, but like that is bloody
On the
hell.
jersey, like if Two-Face from Batman had a contract with Under Armour. These jerseys don't make the players look fast, they don't make them look tough, and they don't make them look sleek. If anything, they make them look like they just fell straight out of the fifth dimension. These are officially called the Maryland Pride uniforms.
Does anyone
but
wear
one look
these,
at them and
like
they'll
fans?
have you packing up and heading for Delaware, if not straight into the Atlantic Ocean. Now that you've seen the 10 worst uniforms in sport, the CDC recommends that you visit an optometrist, unless of course you wore special sunglasses designed for staring into an eclipse. From terrible shades of green to horrible gradients to awful advertising choices, this list was about looking bad, feeling bad, and playing bad. And if that's true, these teams deserve to never win again.
Man. Wait, they're
Falcons
going to,
probably
that
have
clip
it.
gets me. I love that clip so much. This is a controversial one. I mean, I can see by the likes and dislikes because there's going to be some people with a team that they support that like they're probably going to be a bit triggered by this. But I mean, it's all opinions, right? And at the end of the day, I mean, there's probably more out there that's just been missed in other sports as well. But like, would you agree with this list, or who would you say has the worst jersey of all time that you've seen? Just like if you comment them underneath, I'll probably just look at them, like just like sort of search them up, because I mean, there's got to be some poor ones. That last one definitely topped it, but that was awful. The Dallas one was just a bit like, it was a bit strange. Like the font, like the sort of the green sort of colours with the blue, it just didn't really work well. Honestly, I think the D-backs grey and teal jerseys are fire, and the Thunder too. Yeah, the Thunder wasn't like too bad. I mean, I guess the font was a bit weird, but I wouldn't say that's top 10. I'm shocked it's on the list. Man, this would have been perfect for Manscaped. All these jerseys may look horrid, but there's no reason your balls have to. I don't think that's a sponsor, isn't it? I don't think the neon green didn't look that really. See, I guess that's sort of getting used to it. I mean, for me, the first time I've ever seen neon green, it's like a very strange sort of colour to use. So tell me why I actually like a couple of these unis. Still, nothing is as bad as the Steelers' alternate Bumblebee uniform. Yeesh. Okay, the Steelers. I've got to see this. Bumblebee uniform. What the hell is going to happen here? Images. What the fuck? Oh my god. Oh, that is awful. That is awful. What the fuck? Look at that. Jesus Christ. God, that kills you, man. There's been some crazy things, but I mean, I guess it's just like with jerseys and uniforms, how hard is it to make a nice uniform? I mean, I get that some people want, or some designers want to make it sort of unique and not just the same sort of boring stuff. But like, surely you want it to look nice. Like the team that you're supporting, if you've got a poor jersey, and trust me, I've seen some poor jerseys from United in the past. It just sort of, I mean, you're still going to get it, of course, because you're going to support your teams no matter what. But it's just like, man, why can't it be nice? But I mean, I guess there's just errors like that in sort of creating an art, I guess you could say. But yeah, interesting little video. And again, like I said, if there's any more any more awful uniforms and jerseys that haven't been in this video, let me know, because I would love to just look at them in my own time, because it's just, I mean, we saw that Bumblebee one. That is shocking, and that should have definitely been in this. Plus, probably others as well. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Until next time, like, subscribe, peace.